Let's see how much you guys remember. How do we find the area of a rectangle?
Base times height.
Just base times height. Boom, boom, done. How do we find the area of a square?
Base times height.
Okay, base times height as well, except for,
Well, you can really just do base.
yeah, since the sides are the same, you can just do one side times itself, one side squared. How about a parallelogram?
Base times height. Wait, right?
Base times height. The only difference on a parallelogram is the height is the line that goes straight up and down, not the side of the parallelogram. So you might have to use a different thing. Okay, how about a rhombus? Okay, you can do base times height, but there's a special one for rhombus. On a rhombus,
It's half of D1, D2.
yeah, half of diagonal times diagonal. Also on a rhombus, I don't know if you guys remember this, but the diagonals make right angles.
Yeah.
And they bisect each other, like those are equal. We're gonna need that later today, and that. Okay, let's see, triangles. How do you find the area of a triangle?
Base times height divided by.
Okay, either one of those is fine, yes. Base times height divided by 2, 1/2 base times height. How about a trapezoid?
Average the bases times height.
Right. How do we average bases?
B1 plus B2 divided by 2.
Times height. That was a hard one to remember. Okay, then we did circles. Well, actually, that's not quite the order, but how did we find? We did circumference on circles too, not just the area. How did we find circumference of a circle?
Diameter times pi.
Diameter times pi, or
Radius times, or 2r times
2r times pi. How do we find the area of a circle?
radius squared times pi.
R squared times pi. Yeah, okay. Something else we did was equilateral, or, well, call them regular polygons. That had a special formula. You guys remember this?
1/2 times apothem times perimeter.
Yeah. 1/2. That's a little a right there. Apothem times perimeter. Was that all the areas? I think so. That's all the area formulas we learned. We also did some problems like we did some irregular shapes like this, like found the area of that thing. So basically we just split it up into 2 rectangles and add the area of the rectangles together. We also did some shapes where, like, the shaded region, like those of you who took the quiz, there's like 2 people at this point in here. So, like they would, I don't know, have something like this, a shaded region, and you're supposed to find the area. Basically, you do the area of the big thing, take away the area of the holes.
Yeah.
So you do the area of the rectangle minus whatever the circle areas are. That gives you the shaded region. We also did Pythagorean theorem. What is Pythagorean theorem used in?
Only right for triangle.
Only right triangles. And we call this the legs A and B, and we call the hypotenuse C. What was the equation?
A squared plus B squared equals C.
A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So make sure if they give you the long side, the hypotenuse, you put it over here. The 2 little ones should add up to the big one, right? Pythagorean theorem. I'm forgetting something. There's one other thing. I'll probably remember it later. Maybe I already said it. Okay, then we did like this week we did 3 surface area assignments. One of them was, what's the shape called? Triangular prism. One of them was prisms. And when we split up into lateral area and total surface area. How did we find the lateral area in the middle here?
Oh,
Here's an ant.
Half times based on height.
No, that's the area we're trying. That would be the area we're trying.
No, it was the length of the,
Okay,
or it was the bases of all the.
it was the, yeah, it was the perimeter times the height. That gives us the sides of the shape, the lateral area.
Yeah.
So, perimeter times height. And then to find the total area, basically you did that plus the area of the two bases. Now, if it's a triangle, you do what Jordan said, 1/2 base times height. But in general,
You don't have to do that.
in general, you do whatever the area of the base is times 2, because there's 2 of them. Okay, similar to that, on the same assignment, this is Monday's assignment. We also did cylinders, because they're basically like prisms, but with circles instead of polygons.
oh, for the lateral area, you do half of the.
No, you're thinking of Tuesdays. Instead of perimeter times height, it's just circumference times height. And well, I'm gonna go ahead. Circumference is just diameter times pi, or 2r pi times the height. And then total area would be that plus,
Pi radius squared?
right, pi r squared is the circle base, and there's 2 of them, so 2 pi r squared. That was Monday. We're getting close to today. We're almost there. Yesterday we did, you guys remember, or Tuesday, we did pyramids.
Yeah, and you couldn't draw them.
No, that was yesterday.
It was pretty funny.
I'm a champion at pyramids. Not a
Oh, it's half
champion.
of the E, and then the.
It was the octahedron that we had
Yeah,
trouble with.
That was so easy to draw. I do it.
Yeah, you were staring at the book the whole time though. It's a little harder to do it by. Anyway, so it's very closely related to the, instead of perimeter times height, you do 1/2 perimeter times height. Well, and it's not actually the height. You guys remember what this one?
L, it's
Yeah, it's a slant height.
Yeah, slant height.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have to use a half because the side of the pyramids are triangles, so it's like 1/2 base times height. 1/2 perimeter times height, slant height. Okay, for the total area, you basically do that thing
Add the base.
plus the area of the base, whatever that is. Okay, to go with that lesson, we did the circle version, which was a cone, circle version of a pyramid. So it's very similar. Instead of 1/2 perimeter times height, it's 1/2 circumference times slant height. And the total area would be that plus the area of the base, which in this case is a circle, so it's pi r squared. Alright, that was Tuesdays. We're almost up to yesterday. Yesterday we didn't learn that much. You guys remember yesterday?
I don't remember this morning.
Here it comes. What am I drawing?
The sphere.
Sphere. Okay, what was the surface area for a sphere?
You need 4 times circumference.
No,
The area.
4 pi r squared.
4 pi r squared. Yeah. Pi r squared is the area of one circle. For some reason, times 4 will give you the area of a sphere with the same radius. Alright. And then, of course, we talked about the icosahedron, the dodecahedron. You guys remember what a tetrahedron meant? 4 sides. Hexahedron,
That's
6. Dodecahedron,
12.
12. Icosahedron,
20.
20. I think that was all of them we talked about.
Heptahedron. Is that possible?
Well, it's possible, I'm not sure it's possible to make a regular
Ah,
one though, and they only did the like regular ones. You can make some funky, you can make any, you know, you can make some funky shapes with everything, but they don't all work together well. Okay, ready for number one. Okay, this first part is going to go very quickly, like 1 through 10,
Oh,
so we need to be ready to roll.
do we have to draw a picture?
No, I'm not gonna make you draw it.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Okay, says draw pictures, don't have to do that, and find the following areas. Measurements are in units, thank you. Number one, rectangle, base 17, height 9. How do we find the area of rectangle?
Base times height.
Base times height. 17 times 9 is
153.
153
153.
units squared. Number three, square with side of square root of 7. How do we find the area of the square?
Base times height.
Well, what would the height be in this case?
Square.
I don't know.
Well, it's a square, so it would be the same.
Yeah.
So square root of 7 times square root of 7
So 2.6.
is
Square root of 7. Oh, wait, hold on, it's square.
square root of 7 times square root of 7 is
7.
7.
So,
Right? Because square cancels out the square root.
yeah.
Okay, number 5, parallelogram. How do we find the area of a parallelogram?
12 times 6.
Base times height. 12 times 6. You guys remember your 12s?
72.
72. Number 7, a triangle. How do we do triangles?
Half times base times height.
1/2
15
times base times height. And yeah, that does come out to 15. Okay, number 9, this is the first one we might actually get wrong if we're not careful. It says an equilateral triangle with sides 18. Okay, so it's 1/2 base times height, but what is the height? That's basically.
18 squared.
No, it's half of it. So you take 18 divided by 2, and then that gives you 9. And so that's like one side.
No, it's
Okay,
not
right.
height.
So there's the height. So he's saying this thing right here is going to be 9, right?
Yeah.
And then how do we find the height?
Pythagorean theorem.
9 squared plus h squared equals.
So, 81.
81.
So,
324.
that's not the answer. You have to go
I
by
know.
Or 81. Or minus 81.
I think I know the answer.
It's 243.
It's 243. Yeah. I am.
Then,
No.
then it's
Yeah.
81 square root of 3.
Which is 9 square root of 3.
Okay, yeah, it's 9 square root of 3.
So it's
Okay.
15.
That's the height, that's not the answer. So remember, it's 1/2 base times height, so 1/2 times base times height.
Oh, it's 81 square root.
Yeah, you can just, yeah, don't worry about this. We'll leave the square root of 3 alone. 1/2 times 18, 9 times 9 is 81 square root of 3. Units squared, don't forget that little dilly. Okay. I want to point something out really quickly. This could help us. Every time you do it, we've done these equilateral triangle problems a few times, right? Like maybe 6 or 7 times. Every time you do it, it's always this number square root of 3. Like if this side of the triangle is 9, this is going to be 9 square root of 3. So it's basically half of the base times square root of 3 every time. So if you don't remember that, you just got to do the Pythagorean theorem every time. But if you remember the trick, it's going to be 9 square root of 3. Just saves you time. That works on equilateral triangles, not on every right triangle, just equilateral. All right, number 11. What's 11? Trapezoids. You guys remember the trapezoid formula?
Yes.
What do I do?
Base 1 plus base 2 divided by 2 times.
24 plus 10 divided by 2 times the height, 6. 24,
174.
102.
Oh, wait.
24 times 10 is, or plus 10 is 34, divided by 2 is 17, times 6
102.
is 102 units squared.
I don't like this language.
Okay. I do, by the time we take the test, expect you to have all those two-dimensional areas memorized.
What?
Rectangles, triangles, circles,
Like when we
trapezoid,
have the test,
trapezoids, yes.
like that, we're gonna have to write out the formulas for.
No, you're gonna have to use the formula. I don't think I'll.
Could just give us a cheat sheet.
I could make it like the first page of the test is write down the formulas, and then
Yes, do that.
I could grade
That
it
would be
before you
easy
do the
points.
second page.
That would be easy. Yeah, that would be easy.
Yeah, okay, I might do that. Alright, 13.
Sometime now you should write those all down so I can write them down instead of saying. Alright,
My friend Joe.
I did write them down.
yeah, like 20 minutes before
Come
you
on.
get
Yeah,
recorded.
oh my God.
Somewhere.
Yeah, they're way up there.
So they put
It
this-
keeps going down the page though.
It's like cracked, oh my God.
You could have been taking notes on that.
Well, I didn't think I needed
I
it.
hate the videos.
Alright. 13. Circle with C equals 18 pi. What does C mean?
Circumference.
Circumference. So if the circumference is 18 pi, what do I know?
The radius is 9 and.
Okay, the diameter is 18 or the radius is 9. How do I find the area of a circle?
Radius squared times 5.
Radius times pi. 9 times 9 is 81 times pi. We're not doing decimals today, you might have noticed. I'm just leaving square roots and the pies alone. Basically, the book didn't do decimals, so it's easier to grade if you just do that.
Said this is a 2 day?
Yes. It's pretty, yeah, there's a couple hard questions on here. 15, looks like a boot or something,
My boots?
like a clown shoe.
I don't know what kind of shoes you're looking at.
Clown shoes, obviously. Bozo.
Sure.
Wait, did you call him Bozo?
No. You guys have never heard of Bozo the Clown?
Yes.
I have, but they said mine.
He probably hasn't been on TV for a long time. 5, 5, 3, 12. Okay, that's 12 goes from here to here. Okay, so basically we split these up into rectangle. Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
This has a semicircle on it. It's not a rectangle. And okay,
How do we find the circumference of
just a second. We'll get there in a minute. How long is it from here to
7.
this rectangle?
12.
7.
Yeah, this is 12 from here to
Oh,
here.
yeah,
If
that's-
this is 5, that leaves 7 right here. How tall is it from there to there?
2.
2.
Sure. Nick.
Okay, so what's the area of this square right here?
Oh, it's 5 squared.
Yeah, 25. Let me write in blue or red. 25 for this square. How big is this rectangle?
14.
2 times 7, 14. Okay, what is the, okay, it's too tall right there, right?
Oh,
Okay.
so that means the radius.
The radius is 1.
So just 1 squared times.
1 squared times pi, which is 1 pi, which is just pi.
Yeah.
But it's only half of a circle, right?
Yeah.
So it's 1/2 of pi for just the little circle. So we've got 25 plus 14 plus 1/2 a pi. 25 plus 14 is
39
39.
times, or
Okay.
plus 0.5 pi.
Right.
And those don't add together, do they?
Right, not unless you turn it into a decimal, and we're not gonna do decimals today. You can put 0.5 pi, it's fine also. Alright, 17. Regular, okay, this is trouble. Regular hexagon. Hexagons are harder because they never give us the apothem. What's the regular polygon area formula?
Oh, it's half of the apothem times perimeter.
Right. Okay, they never gave us the apothem on hexagons because it says the side is 44. Because when you draw in the radii, it's an equilateral triangle. So the apothem is basically the height of the equilateral triangle. Okay, I talked about this like 5 minutes ago. We could use, like that's 22, right? We could use Pythagorean theorem to help us find the height of the triangle.
Yeah, but it would just be like 22 square root of 3.
Right. So yeah, the fast forward trick for equilateral triangles, that's always going to be like 22 squared root of 3. So apothem is 22 squared root of 3. Okay, so the area is 1/2 times 22 squared root of 3. What's the how are we going to find the perimeter?
44 times 6.
44 times 6, what does that come out to? 264? Is that right?
Yeah, 264.
Okay, so when you plug this in, do 1/2 times 22 times 264. We'll leave the square root of 3 in there for the end.
2,904.
And square root of 3, you just tack that on the end like that. What number is that? 17. Okay, 19. Regular icosahedron. What was the icosa?
20.
20. With a face covering 7 square units. So they're saying one of the sides of the icosahedron is 7.
So just times 20.
Yeah, so you just do that times 20. So that would be
140.
140. So they slid an easy one in there on this. That was nice. Number 18 says sphere. Do you guys remember what the sphere formula was?
Yeah,
No, that's so girly. Was it not? Yeah, it was exactly like that.
Wait, you said number 18 was sphere?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was 4 pi r squared.
You got it. Okay. 21. Find the lateral surface area and the total surface area for each surface below. A right prism having a square base. So square base with a s equals 8. So the sides of the square are 8 and the height of the prism is 22. Okay, how did we find lateral surface area for prisms?
just
pH plus
perimeter
2d.
times height.
Perimeter times height. What's the perimeter of the base here?
8, 32.
8 times 4. 32 times 22.
704.
704. you do total surface area, we did basically 704 plus,
The two bases.
what's the area of the base here?
64.
64 times 2 because there's 2 of them. 128 plus 704,
830.
832.
832. So there's 2 answers on these, lateral and total. Okay, 22 is a doozy, so we should probably talk about
Okay,
it.
what was that?
Says 832.
Thank you.
Alright, 22. So it says a right prism having a rhombus base. So I'm not gonna draw the whole prism. I'm
Are
just
we
gonna.
doing 22 instead of 21?
No, I just did 21. Just-
Oh, okay, never mind.
You guys remember what? I'm not drawing the whole prism. Do you guys remember what a rhombus was?
Square.
It's like equal sides.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
it's
a-
like slanted.
Yeah, it's kind of. Anyway, it's a rhombus base. The height of the prism is 29, and the lengths of the diagonals are 8 and 13. So we talked about this earlier, but diagonals on a rhombus bisect each other, and they make 90-degree angles. So if this diagonal was like 8, then this would be like 4 and 4. And if this diagonal was 13, this would be like 6.5 and 6.5. Okay, so how could I find the length of the side of the rhombus here?
I just have this.
4 times 6.
No,
No, it's half of diameter one.
we're not finding the area of the triangle.
So it's 4 times.
We're not finding the area of this triangle. We're trying to find the length of the side of the triangle, basically. The side.
6.5.
Oh, it's-
4.
It's the Pythagorean theorem.
Pythagorean theorem. So we're not doing area, we're doing sides. So it's Pythagorean theorem. 4 squared plus 6.5 squared. So because there is a decimal already in the problem, equals, I'll call it c squared. Let's just use decimals for this one. So
58.25 or 58.3.
well, okay, you can do 58.25, but that's what c squared is. So how do we find c?
Put it into the square root.
Yeah, square root it.
So 7.6.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, we can do that. 7.6 is the side of the rhombus. Okay, now we're ready to go. For the lateral surface area, we need perimeter times height. I think I'm just gonna erase this. Perimeter times height. What is the perimeter of the base?
7.6 times 4.
7.6 times 4 times the height. Alright,
Is it 881.6?
the book put 885.3. So they probably did round it off, not as much. 881.6, is that what you got?
Is that our final answer?
Well, that's our lateral area. So that's our final first answer. Our total area is going to be that plus the area of the 2 bases. Now I didn't draw a whole picture, but just imagine there's one on the bottom, one on the top. So for a rhombus, you can use for the area 1/2 diagonal times diagonal. The diagonals were 8 and 13. So 1/2 times 8 times 13. But since there's 2 bases, a rhombus on top and bottom, you can do 2 times that. So basically those cancel out. 8 times 13 is 104. Equals grand total of 985.6. Whoa, I wrote 2 A's right there. Beautiful. Alright. 22 is definitely the hardest on this assignment, but 23. A cylinder, okay, back to the basics here. Cylinder with diameter 18 and height of 36.
Would that just be diameter times height, or?
Wrong.
Okay, instead of perimeter times height, you do circumference times height. What's the circumference?
Diameter times pi.
Right, so it's 18 pi times the height, 36, which comes out to 648 pi. It's gonna be pi alone again. Units squared. Okay, what do I need to do to find the total area now? I'm gonna do 648 pi plus what? What am I missing?
The base?
Yeah. What's the area of one of these circles here?
81 times
Right.
pi.
The rate, if the diameter is 18, the radius is 9.
Yeah.
So it's 9 times 9 times pi. So 81 pi. But also there's 2 of them, right? So what's 2 times 81? That was 162 pi. If I add those together, that would be 810 pi units squared. Alright, last one. 25. A cone. Radius of 6 and slant height of 13. Okay, do you guys remember lateral area for cones? Instead of circumference times height, it's basically 1/2 times circumference times slant height. Okay, what is the circumference of the circle going to be?
6 times 6.
Nope, that's area. Circumference is going to be 6 times 2, like
So 12.
12 pi. So it's 1/2 times 12 times pi times slant height 13. 1/2 times 12 is 6. 6 times 13 is 78 times pi. What do I need to do to find the total surface area? What am I missing that I didn't get on this
Base.
base? How do I find the area of a circle?
R squared.
So 6 times 6. Now it's easier on a cone because there's only one of them, right? 6 times 6 is 36 pi times pi. 78 plus 36 is 114 units squared. Alright, so we'll be working on the evens and we'll finish we'll finish it up tomorrow.